Hey everybody, this is TJR. It's been almost a week now since the 2018 60th Grammy Anniversary Telecast. I watch the Grammys every year. If you know anything about me, you know that I stopped caring who wins these things a long time ago. In fact, I don't even care too much who gets nominated by and large. I watch the Grammys primarily for the live performances. Every year there are some really spectacular, tremendous live performances. There are also one-of-a-kind musical team-ups that you just don't see anywhere. A good example, one of my favorites, was the year Metallica teamed up with classical pianist Lang Lang. You just can't see that anywhere else. And also, the Grammys do not put up with any kind of lip-syncing. What you see is live, and it's warts and all, and I appreciate that. So last weekend's broadcast was the 60th anniversary. You'd kind of expect that they would really pull out all the stops with this one. And I hate to say what I have to say here, but this didn't really feel like a milestone broadcast. I kept asking myself, am I just in a bad mood? Am I tired? I had spent the whole weekend at the NAMM show, thought maybe I was just tired, but it just kept feeling like a lackluster Grammy broadcast. I found myself a lot of the time saying, well, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine, you know. Now, the show started well enough with Kendrick Lamar. I want to be honest, I don't claim to understand his music fully, but I could definitely appreciate the performance that he did as performance art. I enjoyed the contributions by Bono and The Edge of U2 and the addition of Dave Chappelle. I thought to myself, okay, this is a good start. And then what followed were some performances that, while, you know, professional and competent, didn't excite me too much. There were also some very serious misfires that disappointed, and there were also some very just what I would refer to as just puzzling moments. I'll start with the positives and talk about the highlights first. First and foremost was the performance of the song Terrified by Childish Gambino. Now, this was just one of those, you know, low-key live performances. No fancy light show, no big production window dressing, just the artist and the band performing. And that performance of that song sent a chill down my spine as I watched it. And this is televised live performance done correctly. Also, I want to point out was Kesha's live performance of the song Pray. Sexual harassment has been a big topic within the entertainment industry, and this song alludes to Kesha's own experiences with sexual harassment and abuse within her own career. I thought she delivered this performance with a really strong emotional intensity that surprised me. It's always a fine line for a musical artist trying to stay in touch with the feelings that they need to communicate in the song they're performing, but also not letting those emotions get away with them. Because if you do, that can destroy the live performance. And she maintained that balance perfectly. And I'm going to be coming back to that topic shortly when I talk about another performance. And so stay tuned. There was also another highlight was the very powerful performance by Logic, Khalid, and Alessia Cara. I was personally not familiar with any of these three performers, but I was absolutely captivated by this team-up. I was just very enthralled with that performance, thought it was fantastic. There was also U2, who left the more safe, more controllable confines of the Grammy stage and instead chose to perform outdoors in the cold and without an audience to feed off of. I get the feeling that there were maybe a few very slight or technical issues they were dealing with, but they dealt with them well. There were a few very slight moments where I felt like there might be something slightly off between the drums and the rest of the band. I chalk it up to the kind of technical problems that can occur when you perform out in the elements without your usual outdoor concert setup. And I want to stress that what I'm referring to is very slight, and in my opinion, it proves just what a tight live unit U2 is. Like I said, when you always shoot for 100%, U2 is a great band, and when you shoot for 100% all the time, even if you're having difficulty, all those years of striving to be your absolute best really do pay off, because even when there's a problem, you still are way ahead of most other musical performing artists out there. Now, the one thing though that puzzled me about U2's performance was, why didn't they have Kendrick Lamar join them on stage? I mean, they went on stage with him, and they could have done their performance there at the Grammy Studios and had him there, or they could have had him join U2 outside where they were performing. Instead, Bono recited Kendrick Lamar's lines through a megaphone. And I just feel like not having him there was just this kind of missed opportunity. I'm not sure why no one thought of that. I mean, I don't know, was there something that kept them from doing that? I don't know. But if anyone has the answers about that, please leave that in the comments. But I thought there was a missed opportunity, and I'm puzzled as to why they didn't do that. Now comes the part where I don't take any pleasure. This deals with some of what I refer to as the more puzzling moments, and also some misfires. In the category of puzzling, there was the performance, the very well-intentioned performance by Eric Church, Maren Morris, and the Brothers Osborne. Now, of course, the first thing that happened was nobody's fault. Maren Morris's speech that she was giving, there was a mic dropout during her opening speech, and that was really a shame. If you watch it on YouTube, on the Vivo channel, you'll find that the audio is restored and you can hear what she was saying. But it's just a shame this had to happen. This is not her fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's just these technical things happen when everything is live. This performance was, of course, in tribute to the victims of concert violence and terrorism here in the U.S. and abroad. And it's just a shame that her mic had to drop out during this moment. So then they begin to perform the song Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. And as the first Osborne brother, I'm guessing that's who that is, sings, I start to think there's something wrong with how he's singing this. He's not singing it very well. And then I start to think, oh, I get it. He's probably just overcome with emotion. And this is what I was mentioning earlier with Kesha's performance. If you let your emotions take too much control, you will lose control of your voice. You will not be able to sing properly. You can lose pitch. You can fall out of key. There's this real fine line between allowing your emotions to enhance the performance and then letting your emotions take too much control to where it can hurt your performance. And I thought, okay, this is what's happening to this guy, and I felt bad for him, But then everyone starts to have trouble singing. When they sang together, when they sang separately, everybody just seemed off, not in key at times, moving in and out of key. And I kept thinking, well, okay, are they all getting overly emotional? Are they all losing control? Was there a problem in the monitors that kept them from hearing themselves properly? It is a shame for a lot of reasons. And there were moments when I felt like the performance was going to be rescued, like, okay, they're getting back on track, and then it falls down again. Like I said, it's a shame for a lot of reasons. Eric Church and the Brothers Osborne did play guitar very well, though. The next thing that I think really just puzzled the heck out of me was the performance by Elton John and Miley Cyrus of the song Tiny Dancer. As I watched this performance, I kept saying, why are they doing this? Why this team up? Why this song? Why this pairing? Did they record this song as a duet for some movie soundtrack that they're promoting and I just don't know about it? usually when an artist performs a song in the Grammys, it's something that maybe there's a current song that's, under Grammy consideration. It's a current song, or it's in tribute to another artist, that sort of thing. But this was none of those things. Tiny Dancer is not a current hit on the radio. I'm just not sure why that, and I'm also not sure why this particular pairing. Elton John does not have the range he had back in the 70s when he first recorded Tiny Dancer. Very few people after so many years do have the range they had when they were in their 20s. I give him a pass because, he's gotten older, and you can't expect him to sing like he did back in the 70s. You just can't expect it. This is why when he does perform live, he will generally have some backup singers to help with some of those higher soaring parts that he can't reach anymore. And I'm not saying that Miley Cyrus is necessarily a bad singer, but her range is limited. And if you're going to have someone duet with Elton on this song, you either need to, one, have someone with a wider vocal range to join him to handle those parts, or two, have the backup singers there so that they can assist with those parts for the two of them, or three, change how you perform it to accommodate the voices that you have performing. Elton and the band, of course, played great. And once again, I don't want to say this was a terrible performance, but it was just puzzling. Why? Who thought this was a good idea? I'm not saying it was a bad idea, but there needed to be a little bit of preparation as far as the execution, like I talked about, as far as, are we going to have backup singers to help with this, or are we going to change the way we play it? Anyways, though, but very puzzling. Now, I don't want to dwell too much on the negative, but there is one very disappointing moment from this broadcast that to me is the most disappointing moment of this broadcast, and I really get no pleasure from saying this. But this was the tribute to Chuck Berry and Fats Domino with Gary Clark Jr., John Batiste, and Joe Saylor. So for starters, the entire performance is less than 3 minutes. Less than 3 minutes. We get half of a Fats Domino song, half of a Chuck Berry song. Seriously, Grammys, you couldn't give more than 3 minutes of performance time to honor two legendary pioneers of rock and roll. These are people who helped pioneer popular music as we know it now. And you can't even give 3 minutes of performance time. So that's the first thing I have to say about that. Half a song. And you got to remember, songs by Fats Domino and Chuck Berry, those songs were themselves like maybe 2.5 minutes or so. We couldn't do at least a full song in honor of them. Then there were issues with the performance. Now, this performance started out fine, even with John Batiste missing the "My Tears Fell Like Rain" line. Still was going well. John Batiste played with enormous technical skill during the piano solo, but there was something off-key about it. Maybe it was his timing. I thought maybe he was playing the solo in a different key than Gary Clark Jr. was playing the rhythm accompaniment in. There was a bass guitar, but nobody was on stage, so that was obviously off stage. There was just something not right, something off-key about it, and I can't put my finger exactly on what it was. Also, when we got to the Chuck Berry song, there was something discordant about something between the piano and the guitar during that second half. And once again, I wondered, are they playing in different keys? And then as Gary Clark Jr. was going into the guitar solo, it was all going quite well. And then both the piano and the bass guitar just dropped out completely from the mix. So all you had now was the drums and a guitar solo without any musical accompaniment underneath the solo. The solo now becomes noodling. It becomes, just notes flying out at you with no real meaning because you need that musical accompaniment as structure for it to work. And I'm sure Gary Clark Jr. is probably, was improvising most of this. And he was sounding great, but then the bottom drops out. And what can you do? You have nothing, you have no accompaniment to play to. And if you're a guitarist, a lead guitarist, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it just suddenly had no form at that point. And I have to wonder, why did that, why did that have to happen? And once again, one of those technical problems that occurred. And also, why no bass player on stage? I could hear the bass, but nobody's on stage. And also, the whole idea of having this trio up there on stage, I kind of get what they were going for with this, having a small trio, since this is how probably both these artists probably did a lot of their performances during their early shows, during their early days. But I think this is one time when a larger production number might have been the way to go. And definitely more than 3 minutes, please. You only get one chance at the Grammys to do something like this, to pay tribute to these, early, pioneers of rock and roll. And I think they were done a disservice with this performance on a number of levels. Beyond this, I'm not going to really express any other disappointments. Now, I do want to say there were many performances, such as, say, Lady Gaga and Pink, that I felt performed technically quite well. I thought that Pink in her performance was vocally flawless. But I just wasn't being moved like I thought I should have been. And I kept just wondering, is it just me? Like I said, am I just tired from, 4 days at NAMM? I don't know. I have been a voting member of the Grammy Awards for many, many years. I did, about a year or so ago, let it lapse. I'm not going to get into why. That's a whole nother story. I don't want to get into all that. I did attempt to renew my membership after the fact. I was basically told that I was going to have to, resubmit, basically kind of prove that I'm worthy again. And I was going to do that, but then I just got too busy with other things. And I thought, wow, you really don't have a whole lot of motivation to be a voting member anymore. And I wondered, but I still always liked the live performances. I wondered, is this coloring how I feel? I sure hope it isn't. I'd hate to think that it was. Once again, I don't care who wins. I don't really care that much about who's nominated, but I kind of think that maybe I should try to get my membership back and start voting again. I think it is important for musicians, songwriters, people who work in the industry to become voting members and vote and take part in this. I think the best way you can, rather than criticize the Grammys, be a part of it, and try to make it better one person at a time. That's why I originally joined in the first place. At any rate, though, kind of really disappointed, for the most part, and kind of sorry to have to say that. I've generally been much more excited each year with the performances that we see. There's always an excitement to it, and I just felt there wasn't that much excitement this time around. Even though many of the performances were well executed, I just wasn't feeling any strong level of excitement. I don't know. At any rate, though, what do you think? Did you watch the show? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think I'm full of crap? If so, please feel free to opine in the comments and let me know what you thought. What were your favorite performances? What disappointed you, if anything did? Who knows? Maybe it's just me. But anyways, that's my commentary on the 2018 Grammys. I will be watching next year, and I'll be keeping my fingers crossed that it's a lot more exciting next time around. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.